Hello friends, we're going to get started in my kitchen in today's video. We're just continuing along my decluttering journey. As you can see, we're starting with a couple of cabinets in the kitchen. I know I entered into the kitchen in the last video I did, but you start to think about things and there were just a few cabinets that I never got around to. So here we are just making those final decisions. I have decluttered this kitchen a couple times on film for you guys, and these sets of plates were so close to being decluttered the last couple of times, but I would always second guess myself. Either somebody gave them to me, or maybe one day I'll be that person to set out fine china when guests arrive. But what really made me decide to finally get rid of the china and I have some placemats was actually my husband. We needed some more room for some mason jars and things like that, and he saw me debating on whether or not to get rid of these dishes, and he was like, "We will never ever use them. We'll never set the table for just 8 people." And it's true. We host all the time. We host Friendsgiving. We host so many different gatherings, and I never can see myself in a situation, at least for a long time, where I will be setting out dishes like this. And that's okay. I have really nice serving dishes that I do use all the time, and maybe one day I will set out really beautiful fine china, but today's not that day, and honestly, I don't see myself doing it in the next 10 to 15 years either. So we're going to get rid of those, and then I have some hosting things, extra hot pads and things like that that I just don't use. There are a couple serving dishes that don't match any of my other serving dishes. And then we're going to move on. I know I've entered this cabinet in the last video, but these glasses up here went with the fine china. They're just crystal glasses for like when you have sparkling cider or something like that, and we've never used them since owning them. So I figure it was high time to get rid of those as well. This has nothing to do with decluttering, but if you guys need a way to store some extra kids' artwork, definitely hang them on the inside of your cabinets. It keeps them safe from spills and oil and grease, just anything your hands have, especially when it's on the outside of my fridge. I don't know about you, but my fridge gets coated, and I am always taking a rag and wiping it down. So I end up hanging all of the artwork that cousins, my nieces and nephews, or the cousins or my kids give me, and it's specifically for me or my husband. I end up hanging it on the inside of my cabinets, and I love it. I love opening cabinet doors and seeing their artwork. It always makes me smile. Now we've moved on to this drawer. I don't actually have very much to declutter from this drawer. I did declutter this in one of my other kitchen declutter videos. However, I did want to add some organization. I have always just kind of thrown miscellaneous utensils in this drawer, and it was just one of those drawers that I wanted to tackle, and I got this off of Amazon. It can spread even wider than it is in this video, and it's got 5 compartments, but I'm only using 4 of them, and so far I love it, and everything has a place. We've got a place for thermometers close to the stovetop, and then some extra prongs. We've also got anything meat related, so to baste the meat, inject the stuff to make it moist, anything like that is in one. So it's kind of organized. I'm also going into my pantry. I do not have a lot to declutter, but food is something that you do have to declutter once in a while, and that is okay. We do our best not to have any waste, but you can't always do a perfect job. So we had a container of oil, and it was oil that we used to fry something, but we like to fry with the same oil a couple times. And so that had to be gone. And then this microwave popcorn, my kids refused to eat it, and we just got super sick of it. We bought too much, and we just can't handle it anymore. Moving right along, we are going to quickly go through this art drawer, and All of this stuff is just art my kids have made, and it's super cute and fun, but I do have to go through it whenever the drawer gets full. I like to take a pile of things that I'm keeping, and that goes in a little file for them to keep when they're older. And then anything that I don't think is that extraordinary, I end up tossing. So I definitely toss it in the real garbage or recycling in the garage so that they don't notice. I'm sure every single parent can relate. Now we're going to quickly go through this drawer. It did look a lot worse than this, but I had to take some of our mail and documents out of here so that they're not on film, and that's why it was looking a little empty. But I'm going to quickly empty this. This is kind of my junk drawer, and I just throw anything from the car, anything I was using for projects in here, so I'm just giving it a good reset. Now we're going to move on to the garage. If you saw my last declutter video, we did a lot of the garage in that video. And in today's video, I will be mostly focusing on just this little section here. It was a lot of work, and they were all so dirty, so it took up most of my time, and I didn't get to all of the rest of the garage. But I am very happy with the progress I made. So here I'm going through this container. This was our container that we kept in our old family car, and it had things like first aid kits, anything you might need if you get stuck on the side of the road. These extra bags for going grocery shopping, we just don't grab for them. So I'm going to pass those on. And we have some other ones that are currently in our cars, and we just don't need this many. Those little patio plastic things, they're cup holders. They do not fit on our patio furniture, even though they came with them. They're always falling off, so it's high time I just threw those away. Just things like that. We're going through this shelf, and we are just giving everything a good cleaning, and we're also just trying to figure out what we actually use. I found some blankets that we used to keep in our car for the cold weather, and we're going to get rid of those. I've got so many blankets at this point, we don't need more. And the hardest part for me was the side to the right of these shelves. This side over here is a lot of family stuff and adventure stuff, and so it's actually decently, they're just things that we use that I know I want. And the other side is all of the stuff to fix cars and boats and lawnmowers, just anything you can think of. And so you don't actually see me do it, but I actually opened up these containers, looked at them, started my camera to film, pulled some containers down, got overwhelmed, put them back, and decided, I'm not going to declutter them because I don't know what any of this stuff is. And then I would go back into the garage and I'd be like, I really need to do it. It's so dirty. I want to organize it. And then I'd start again, and then I get frustrated, and then I turned off film and was like, nope, this just isn't going to be in this video. So if you guys are feeling overwhelmed, I was too. It is definitely not easy, especially if you're organizing stuff you don't understand. I did not declutter a ton from this area, but I did end up breaking everything down and cleaning it and taking everything out of the bin so I could see what was in there and organizing it by category. I'm not positive I got all of my categories right, but I will have my husband look at it, and he can always make changes if he wants. Right now, everything is just thrown in these bins because when we moved, we took all of the bins and just threw them into tubs to move. So right now, everything is so disorganized that anything I can do is probably going to be better than what it is now. At least that's what I'm telling myself so that I can continue this project. I started wiping down this bin with Clorox wipes and then realized that this just wasn't going to cut it. So you're going to see I do that with this bin, and then I'm actually going to take all of the bins that are dirty and dusty, full of sawdust, out into the driveway, and I'm going to rinse them off with a jet spray from our hose. So you'll see me do that in a little bit. So what I'm doing here is everything in this bin is going to be liquids or oils, anything that's for fixing a car or refilling a car when you're working on it. And then the bottles that I set aside, I think are all car wash and wax and windshield wiper stuff to make sure that they work well. Like anything that's more maintenance, that's like for when you're washing your cars, I'm putting off to the side so that they're separate so that we can actually see all of the products we own. So here's that bin. It is actually a little bit organized, but we're going to go back into this. See, that bottle there had nothing to do with car washing. So I ended up putting it with all the others. And I wanted to put all the small bottles in that small tub because that way they wouldn't fall over, and hopefully I can prevent spills, because there were a lot of spills, and oil and car products just don't come out of your bins very easily. I honestly wish I could do this to my entire garage, and maybe I will get to that before fall starts. I think in the summertime, it's just the best time to do projects like this because it's so easy to rinse things off and let them dry in the sun. So maybe I will go through and do the rest of the shelves I didn't get to and just spray down all of the tubs, because everything in our garage is just so dusty, and most of it we haven't gone through since we really moved. We just found a place for everything and kind of mimicked the organization in our old garage, but because the shelving's a little different and the setup's different, you can't mimic it perfectly, so some things just weren't gone through, and I'm trying to slowly go through everything. And in our old house, I had everything really organized down to Cricut labeling in our garage, and in this house, I'm just not there yet, but it is getting a lot better. I decided while I was out there that this whole entire shelf needed to be washed, so I'm just going to carry it out, and then it just felt so much better, and I was having more fun organizing once all of the dirt was cleaned up. Now we're at the point where we can start putting things back on the shelves. I'm putting things that I'm sure of on the shelves. So things that I know it was working for us and we're not decluttering it, all of those big items, so that it's less overwhelming to look at the ground. Here is our car wash bin. So there were a bunch of liquids that were for car washing and then sponges. This is our polisher. It's something that I'm not really sure what it does. I think you take wax and it rotates like a sander and kind of like polishes and waxes up your car. There's also sandpaper that goes with it, so I'm not really sure what all it does. Here, this is the hardest part for me. This is why I got overwhelmed. There are so many like tools and car parts and things that I just didn't know what they were for, and I didn't know a way to organize them that would be helpful. So what I ended up doing, you'll see I kind of move things around. You'll see I start doing something and then I kind of move things. But what I settled on is one container was for tools. So anything that looked like it was a tool that was used for cars, I put in one bin. So anything that was small that could get lost easily is in the black bin. All the bigger things are kind of around the black bin. And then in the other bin, I put anything that looked like it was a part. So looked like it was a part that needs to be replaced, tubing, brake pads, anything that was more like not a tool. They kind of resemble tools, that's why it was so hard, but anything that kind of looked like spare parts or things that are used, I guess I'm struggling to describe it, but anything that looked like it wasn't a tool, I ended up putting in another bin. So that's kind of how I decided to organize this. It was just really hard to pick, and I think this is going to work out. We'll have to wait and see when my husband works on cars again. Here's what it's looking like now. It looks so much better. I know it still looks like clutter, but that's a garage. I've seen some people with those perfect garages with everything like super clean and like white, and we live in our garage. Like in the summertime especially, we do our own work a lot of the time on cars as much as we possibly can. And then we've got a boat that needs maintenance. We do all of our yard work ourselves, and it just, you acquire a lot of things that you do need in order to landscape and work on your grass, take care of your lawn. All of those stuff needs homes. And then we also love camping now. And okay, I shouldn't say love. There are moments where I dread it because it's a lot of work to get packed up. And I'm not a fan of being cold. So as long as it's in the summertime and I'm not going to be cold at night, I love camping. So I do like a little bit more of the luxury camping, but I still can enjoy my time out in the woods with a nice cup of coffee in the quiet mornings. That's my favorite part. But anyways, we're getting to the end here, and our garage, like I said, is very lived in. We have lots of stuff in our garage, and so sometimes it can be overwhelming to maintain it. And if you're feeling the same way, I just want to encourage you and say you can make it better, one baby step at a time. Just do one small shelf and you'll feel so much better. Now that I finished decluttering and the project that I wanted to get done today, I am going to quickly put things away because I have been doing some garage cleaning and organizing, and I'm trying to maintain it. And in order to maintain it, I have to keep up with it. And garages can get piled with stuff really fast. You throw recycling out here. You go on one camping trip and you leave everything in the garage. So I'm trying to be better about that, and I'm honestly not doing too bad. Here's the pile we're getting rid of. Those plastic things are going in the garbage. This tote is completely ruined. Just so many things spilled and I couldn't wash it off. And then all of that other stuff was stuff that needs to be donated, or I'm giving it to friends or family. My declutter pile was not as big as my previous video, but sometimes you have more organization that needs to be done than decluttering. So that right box there is filled up from my kitchen, and then that bin is garbage. I did throw away a few other things as well that were just in terrible condition. So my garbage is very full. And then that bin there is also donations. That one I'm still trying to fill up. I hope you enjoyed this video. Have a wonderful rest of your week.